She's out having a smoke.
Having a parliament?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Winston.
Welcome to the Tuesday, May 28th, 2013 Washougal City Council meeting. I would ask that you please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Rose, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Boger,
Here.
Councilmember Plinsky,
Here.
Councilmember Greenlee,
Here.
Councilmember Lindsay,
Here.
Councilmember McDaniel,
Here.
Councilmember Shoemaker,
Here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Here.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda this evening? Okay. Seeing none. Our first order of business is a proclamation for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day.
Oh, that belongs to you.
Whereas Washougal seniors are valued members of society, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that they live safely and with dignity. And whereas abuse of older people is a tragedy inflicted on vulnerable seniors and an ever-increasing problem in today's society that crosses all socioeconomic boundaries. And whereas combating abuse of seniors and vulnerable adults will help improve the quality of life for all seniors across this country and will allow seniors and vulnerable adults to continue to live as independently as possible and contribute to the life and the vibrancy of America's cities. And whereas Washougal seniors and vulnerable adults are guaranteed to be treated with respect and dignity to enable them to continue to serve as leaders, mentors, volunteers, and important and active members of this community. And whereas we are all responsible for building a safer community for Washougal seniors, and whereas the well-being of Washougal seniors is in the interests of all and further adds to the well-being of our community. Now, therefore, I, Sean Gard, Mayor of Washougal, Washington, do hereby proclaim June 15th, 2013 as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day and encourage all Washougal residents to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of Washougal's senior citizens. Diana, would you like to come up and receive this proclamation? It's even signed with a purple pen. You're welcome. If you'd like, you want to take the microphone for a moment?
Thank you, Mayor Gard, and thank you, City Council. This is a true honor for me today because this is my hometown, Washougal, Washington, and I am so proud of the work that my community has done in support of vulnerable adult abuse awareness. I bet you didn't know that the Vulnerable Adult Task Force inception started in 2005, and one of the first founding members of the VATF was your commander, Alan Cook, who works for Washougal PD. Washougal has always been involved in the protection of seniors. Our small little city has done instrumental work throughout the years to make a difference for seniors in this county. As I look at the council, I can think of the important work that they've done individually. Mayor Sean Gard sits as the Vice President of the Friends of the Elder Justice Center Board. Brent Boger has donated his time and his big brain to helping us with our legal counsel on the Friends of the Elder Justice Center. And my dear friend, Jennifer McDaniel, has been instrumental in delivering Meals on Wheels to seniors, which is one of the best gatekeeping programs for our seniors in our community. The work we continue to do is but a drop in the bucket of the work that lies ahead of us. In this county, we built the Elder Justice Center, the first one in the state of Washington. By 2025, 1 out of 4 of us is going to be a senior. And here's a number for you to digest. As a nation, we lost $2.6 billion to elder financial abuse just last year. I look forward to the work that we're doing in our county to bring about vulnerable adult abuse recognition and to try to stop this ever-prevalent disease that's spreading. And I am so very appreciative of the city council, my mayor, and my council members standing with me to turn the town purple. On June the 6th, we have a dance at the Rudy Lubke Center where we have seniors who are very engaged and functional and seniors who are being brought in from assisted living and Alzheimer's communities to experience the joy of the day with us. From Mayor Tim Levitt to Mayor Sean Gard, to Councilman Boger and McDaniel, and our city council in Vancouver, to my former boss, Tony Golick. And if you've ever seen a prosecutor dance, it's pretty funny. Please come and join us as we turn the town purple on June the 6th. Every one of you on the City Council is welcome to attend the dance that day from 2 to 4:30. Experience our seniors, hear about their issues, and stand with us as a community to bring about vulnerable adult abuse awareness. Thank you so much for this proclamation. And I have purple ribbons for you all to wear to join everybody in turning the town purple on June 6th. Thank you.
Where's the dance on the 6th?
It is at the Rudy Lubke Senior Center.
Oh, you said that. Thank you.
Yep. And you can wear purple if you can't attend the dance. We're trying to turn all of Clark County purple. And we're also meeting at the BOCC, Board of County Commissioners. They have been gracious enough, our commissioners, David Medor, Tom Milkey, and Commissioner Stewart, to do a proclamation to turn the whole county purple on June 11th.
Neat.
Thank you, Diana.
Oh, thank you, Diana.
I've got pinned.
You are pinned.
I got pinned.
You are pinned. Thank you, Jay. Honey Joe, you're pinned.
I'm pinned.
We're just equal opportunity.
How do you spell Lukey?
Now everybody knows why there's so much purple in the room tonight.
K-E.
Before we go to public comment, we did, the council did meet earlier this evening at 5 o'clock in workshop session. We undertook 3 different topics during that meeting, including the vacation of some city street easements down in the marina area of the port, not actual streets, but street easements. We went through our first quarter financial updates, and we also talked about some revenue options that are available to the council from the state of Washington. So with that, getting into tonight's meeting, if there are any members of the public that would like to address council, please come forward to the microphone and give your name and address. Ernie, good evening.
Thank you. Ernie Suggs, 2127 44th Street in Washougal. Diana, I'll let you know that in the early 70s I delivered the first Meals on Wheels out here. It was very good experience. I'm here tonight to remind you, you should have had all one of these in your box about the Emergency Preparedness Fair that's coming up. The community is joining together to put on this Saturday from 10 until 1 p.m. at the LDS building here, 39th and Q. We're going to have everything set up to cover everything from a 72-hour kit you might want to have in your home to ham radio to cooking with charcoal. There's about 18 or so demonstrations that they're going to be having this week. And not that it was timed this way, but you know, we had the bridge disaster up north, and not that it could happen here, but maybe it could. We just want people to be prepared. And so I wanted to promote that with you, and it's coming up this next Saturday from 10 until 3. Also, I wanted to forewarn you that the Day of Service is coming again in September, which we've been involved with the city on that, and bringing about hundreds of people to volunteer. So we'll be contacting the city personnel regarding that coming up in September. Don't have a date on that yet, but I know it's been set. And we want you to know we love the community and want to get back to it. Thank you.
Ernie, thank you very much. I assume that you left some of these with the staff to put at the front counter as well?
The other day, and I have some here, and I will leave these somewhere out there.
There's a table with some information on there if you want to hit them there. And thank you again for what your church does for us for the service day. That was, when we started out up there last year, that was one very large group of people.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Ernie. Are there other members of the public that would like to address council? Harvey, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. You're not allowed to eat that, you know that. That little goodie. Anyway, Harvey Olson, 3903 R Street. Had a great vacation down in Mexico. Nice weather, 80 degrees most every day. And the trade winds were blowing wonderfully, and the surf was just a-crashing. I really enjoyed it, just right out in front of you. Anyway, Mayor, I'm down here to speak for three of my neighbors and myself on the bill number 02-13, the water rates. Then back in January 22nd, Councilor Shoemaker stated that the current policy of charging a minimum of 10 units per household should go back to actual gallons used. I agreed with him. And the last two bills we have had, for 2 months we had 7 units used, were charged for 10. The next bill was 4 units used, charged for 10. The conservation is meaningless. You might as well leave your tap running because you're going to get charged for it anyway. And I was wondering why it has taken, or it probably will take, the whole 2013, according to this paragraph, that the city will undertake a cost of service analysis during 2013 to determine the best utility rate structure for the city. And I imagine it will take all of 2013. I haven't heard anything that the rates are going to be adjusted. You're making over $2 million excess each year that it started, and now I know it goes into a special fund for capital improvements, but still that's 30% more than what it costs to run the departments. I feel it's time to get your act together, the city, and give the citizens some relief from excessive charging. Either that explains to all 200 people that were here at the public meeting that they're being overcharged because we have to put money aside for capital improvements. I don't think that was ever addressed at that public comment session that we had, where about 200 people were all lined all the way around here. I have to commend you, Mayor, for answering every one of them at that meeting. Thank you for the time. And
Thank you,
I'll be
Harvey.
back. If you have comments on the water rates, sure would like to hear them.
Thank you, Harvey. Anyone else from the public that would like to address council? Okay. Seeing none, we will move to the consent agenda. This evening, the consent agenda consists of 3 items: our workshop minutes of May 13th, 2013, our council minutes of May 13, 2013, and our regular accounts payable claims in the amount of $535,444.38.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Hearing no objection, so ordered. Moving on to new business. Agenda Bill 1713, a public hearing to pass a resolution in regard to utility fund surplus items. Did Jennifer leave the room? Oh.
Good evening. I know I promised to never have to bring the surplus resolution forward again, but unfortunately, these were utility funds that were used, so we do have to hold a public hearing before being able to and pass a resolution before being able to dispose of these surplus items. So, as you know, they have several items in the Public Works Department that are no longer useful. They're planning on using the J.J. Kane auctioneer as the fee structure, and the clientele aligns very nicely with the equipment we have for sale. There's also a list of items, 1 through 10, fax machine, a 99 Ford Ranger, an 85 Ford F-350 dump truck, 99 Ford F-250, an 87 Toyota pickup, a 1975 International Sledge truck, 1990 Dodge Caravan, 1996 Ford Taurus, a 93, that should be GMC, not GMS, Sonoma, and a 1967 Ford generator. The recommended action is to hold a public hearing and then read the resolution by title only and pass and post the resolution in the usual manner.
Thank you, Jennifer. With that, I will open the public hearing and ask any members of the public that would like to address the item to please step forward. Second call for anyone that would like to speak to Agenda Bill 1713. And a last and final call for anyone that would like to speak to the utility surplus items agenda bill. Okay, with that, I will close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that we read the resolution by title only.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
Before I read that by title only, I'm going to indicate I've made just a small change under section 1, paragraph 1, where it says said assets are attached here too. I didn't think that was appropriate, so I put a list of the surplus assets are attached here too. With that, I'll read it by title only. A resolution declaring city property to be surplus and authorizing the sale of the property.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post the resolution as amended by the city attorney.
I've got a motion and a second to pass and post the amended resolution. Council discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving to fire, Agenda Bill 1813, adopting an ordinance with amendments to the Washougal Municipal Code, Chapter 5, Fireworks, Section 5.64.040, dates of permitted sales. Good evening, Chief Schumacher.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The current Washougal Municipal Code follows state rules regarding the commercial sale of fireworks. Fire Department is proposing a change to the code where the consumer sale of fireworks would only be permitted to be sold between 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. on July 2nd through the July 4th. In addition, December fireworks sale would be limited to December 29th through the December 31st between the hours of 12 noon to 11 p.m. The recommended action is to read the ordinance by title only, to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that we read the ordinance by title only.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
An ordinance amending portions of Washougal Municipal Code 5.64.040, reducing dates and times that consumer fireworks may be sold within the city of Washougal.
Mr. Mayor, I move we pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. Council discussion? Dave?
The Public Safety Committee did not take a vote on this, but we looked at it some time ago, and we're generally in favor of what's being proposed here tonight.
Any other council members? Concho?
When are you allowed to shoot them off?
Only on July 4th and December 31st.
What hours? What's the deadline?
Up to 1 a.m. on July 4th? July
Up to
5th?
midnight on July 4th and 1 a.m. on December 30th. Well, it'll be January 1st.
Okay.
And just to remind everybody, this one does not go into effect for 2013. This would be for 2014.
Yes.
So, for both states. Any other council questions, comments? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
I do have a question, though. I should have asked. I should have
Thank you.
spoken quickly.
Thank you, Chief.
Can I ask you a question about it real quick before we move on? If residents, your neighbors, abuse the 4th of July timeframe and the New Year's Eve timeframe, what is the action we should take?
911?
Okay.
That will usually get you somebody.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Next item under administration, we kind of tossed a coin on how to bring these ones up. We wanted to make sure it was timely coming back to council. At the same time, we knew that we weren't going to have time in the workshop, but that our council meeting agenda was going to be a little bit lighter. So these are the discussion items that we were asked to bring forward in regards to proxy voting and time limits for council. So with that, let's go ahead and open the first one up in regard to proxy voting. And Dave, I believe you wanted both of these brought up, so I'll let you take the lead on them.
Okay, just very briefly, the idea is to limit council members to 3 minutes per recognition. The mayor recognizes somebody, you have 3 minutes to make your point and yield the microphone to somebody else so that they can give their counterpoints. Now, if the mayor recognizes you the second time around, you get 3 more minutes to make the counterpoint to the counterpoint. And this can go on for some time, but it's limited to three minutes per time. And the idea here is to limit one person's discussion so that everybody can be heard without us being here until midnight. So it's, at first glance, it looks like we're trying to limit the discussion. What we're actually trying to do is facilitate the discussion among many people. And that was the purpose of putting this forward. The other reason for putting it forward was the public is limited to 3 minutes. Why shouldn't council be?
With that, I will open the topic for discussion among the council. Jennifer?
Yes. Are we talking about both proposals or just the time limits for council proposal?
Right now, let's limit it just to the time limits.
Okay. I'm going to let you know that I would not support this. I apologize, Councilman Shoemaker. I think that when it comes time for council to deliberate and discuss, that there really shouldn't be time limits for that discussion, because points need to be made and potentially go a lot longer than the 3-minute time limit that we set for the citizens. So I think it's important to be able to finish a point and not completely have to go all the way around the room in case you want to make your point.
May I respond?
And certainly, absolutely.
Okay. I think we can make our points in 3 minutes. I listened to Councilman Greenlee the other night. He had 3 points or 4 points to make. He made them all in a little over 3 minutes. He was succinct. And the other thing is, these are council rules. Council rules can be suspended for a particular debate, for a particular moment, for a particular council member. So the rules are not that limiting, but they do give us a guideline to keep the discussion moving. And that was the purpose of the proposal.
Joyce?
As a council, we get very few opportunities to converse with each other because of the Open Meetings Act. So this is really our opportunity where we can discuss. And sometimes there are some things that take more time than others, and sometimes we're more wordy than we need to be. But it is our opportunity to discuss with our fellow council members, so I'm opposed to this.
May I respond?
Yes.
As the sponsor here? Okay. Yes, there is a great deal of back and forth that takes place in the council, and we all benefit from that. But if you limit people to 3 minutes per recognition, it doesn't stop the back and forth. It encourages that because it limits each person to 3 minutes, and then the next person gets to speak.
How much of a problem is this? Are we fixing something that isn't broke?
Correct.
I don't think so. I've seen this council spend considerably more than 3 minutes to say something that could have been said in 3 minutes. And I've been guilty of it myself.
We all have.
I'm looking in the
Why?
mirror.
But I guess
sorry.
my question would be, why is it one council member's prerogative to decide another council member's time limit? It's really not. That's just my personal opinion. But
May I respond? Actually, it's not one council member.
And you're all staying under 3 minutes so far each. So you're doing good here.
Precisely. And I've lost track of the point that we were going to make. And so your point was, again?
yes, my point was,
Oh, why one member?
Why is it a council member's prerogative to decide how much time another council member has to speak on an issue.
Good. It's not. And this proposal doesn't propose that. This proposal suggests the council adopt rules, which are adopted by the council. And then those rules govern the individual council members. And we have council rules now that govern the individual council members, and they were adopted by majority vote. I'm merely proposing another rule to be adopted by majority vote.
Any other comments, discussion? Brent?
Just remember the pastor of the church I was growing up in said, in talking about delivering sermons, said, if you can't make your point in 20 minutes, stop boring. I'm sorry, if you can't strike oil in 20 minutes, stop boring, is what his point was. And I've been on the council for 11 months now, and I haven't seen this as a problem. So, I don't know, Mr. City Attorney, what if someone came in here and wanted to filibuster at the council meeting? What would be the remedy to stop that?
That's a good question.
Call the question.
The mayor would probably have the authority at some point to cut off the debate.
Actually, council can cut off the debate with a motion to call the question.
Interrupt the speaker? When he's still talking, can you interrupt the speaker?
I think so.
You can call for cloture.
Like I say, as a city attorney for over 20 years, I've never seen an issue where we've had a filibuster type of situation. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen. But,
I've attended council meetings and county commissioner meetings, board of supervisor meetings.
For
and
years,
never seen it happen.
Any other comments, questions?
I'm satisfied that we've beat this one to death.
Not a worry. I was going to say, from what I'm hearing among council, I'm not sure that we'd be bringing this one back for action.
It doesn't sound like it.
Let's go to item number 2, proxy voting. Dave, you're up.
Proxy voting, okay. And I put this one forward also. There are times when every council member is absent for good reasons. They're on vacation, they're not feeling well, they're out of town on business. And I've missed on occasion, I think I've missed about 3 or 4 meetings in the last 4 years. But I've missed at least one for each of those reasons. And the votes that were taken were completely changed by my absence and the absence, in one case, of at least one other council member who generally votes philosophically in tune with my votes. And the people of Washougal elected the council members. They elected them because they espoused certain ideals, they believe in certain general principles, they ran on a platform of specific ideas and projects. And to have that overturned by a minority of council members in the absence of other council members who would have supported those ideas, I think is wrong. And so there's nothing in the law that says you cannot have proxy voting, that I can't ask one of my colleagues to vote for me in my absence. The Association of Washington Cities recommends against it. They don't say specifically why. I'm sorry, the
Municipal Research.
MRSC, Municipal Research
Services Corporation.
Support
Service.
Municipal Research Services Corporation.
Services Corporation, thank you, which is more or less a taxpayer-paid think tank. And generally, I agree with them. In this case, I don't. They recommend against the use of proxy voting. They don't really make a very good case for why that is. And so I'm looking at this as a way of ensuring that the vote that the people elected gets made. Am I within my 3 minutes?
You are. Good. Council discussion? Brent?
I'd like to start out with asking the city attorney, do you agree that this would be lawful?
I've done some research on this. Mayor, if you permit me, I'll give you kind of my brief thoughts on it. It actually came up a couple of years ago when Councilman Russell requested the same information. So I went back and looked at my files, and we talked to Municipal Research at that time. Followed up again with them, this time with Jim Doherty, who's an experienced attorney with municipal research, to once again discuss this issue. Their written material that's available online, that I think Councilman Shoemaker looked at, says that proxy voting is allowed by body rules. Excuse me. The answer depends in part on whether proxy voting is allowed by body rules. So you'd have to have that to start with. However, even if authorized, it is not clear how proxy voting would be viewed by the courts. And in talking to Jim Doherty, an experienced attorney of municipal research, again, after this came up last time, it is acknowledged that there is information on the MRSC website regarding this issue that indicates that although MRC advises against implementing proxy voting, that a council could choose to do so by rule. However, when I talked with Mr. Doherty recently, their current position seems to favor the idea that if proxy voting was allowed in a municipal setting, that vote could be challenged with a likelihood that proxy voting would not be upheld by a court. The concern that is expressed against proxy voting in this situation is that an elected deliberative legislative body meets regularly to confer and deliberate on a proposed action that may be taken. As council is well aware, the Open Public Meetings Act prohibits council members from any deliberations outside of formal meetings, so that if proxy vote was cast, it would be without the benefit of deliberation with other council members. This would be particularly true where an action followed a public hearing where public input was taken. The other thing that would probably mitigate against proxy voting is the state of technology where it is possible and easily made available for council members who were unable to attend in person to attend by use of a speakerphone, Skype, or some other type of technology. This type of situation has been previously discussed and could be implemented by amending the council rules. So I guess in the bottom line is I'd be concerned about allowing proxy voting, whether it would hold up in the court of challenge. I'd have a fairly serious concern.
Did that answer your question?
Well, I would too, and the other thing, you know, when this has come up in the past in my 11 months on the council, I think that we probably need to make more of an effort to use technology to have a council attend by speakerphone or Skype or something like that, and I'd like to ask the city administrator to maybe comment on what we could do at this point with the technology we have with our new TVs.
I think if the council decided to incorporate remote participation, we could craft some rules for you. You could certainly do that, and we have the capability to accommodate it.
Refresh my memory. I thought that as a matter of black letter law in Washington, telephone attendance was permitted as long as the attendee could hear the public or could hear the meeting, could hear any testimony.
I
And
don't think there's any black letter law that says it's permitted. I think that'd be something you need to adopt in your council rules.
And secondly, I thought that was already part of our council rules.
We've talked about it, and we actually, way before any of you were on council, we actually did it one time, and I think we offered it to Councilman Shoemaker when he was in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. I thought so too.
Somewhere
I think-
warm on vacation.
Yes, may I? It was offered, but the opportunity to vote was not offered. Participation was offered, but not the opportunity to vote.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, it would.
my assumption would be that it would be all.
Okay, I didn't get that impression at that time.
I thought that was understood, that if you were going to participate, you could vote.
However, that certainly would satisfy my concern.
Thanks, Joe.
I was just going to say I'm completely in favor of allowing it if the person out of town or is homesick is able to be involved in the conversation. You should be allowed to cast a vote. But you'd already said all that since I raised my hand. I would be in favor of it. I like it. I'm getting ready to have my first grandbaby, and they could be living in Florida. So I could do both.
Yes, I would definitely not be in favor of a proxy vote via a vote before the council meeting, whether it was, a paper vote turned in regarding an agenda bill. Just because of the potential for amendments, things happen during our meetings, and we quite frequently amend bills and make changes, and would that vote be valid? And these are the things I'm hearing from Councilman English. And also, an absent member is missing any and all of the last-minute discussions. And we have quite a bit of that as well that seems to come up at the last minute, especially on contentious or controversial issues. So unless it could be live and unless it could be completely interactive, that would be the only way I could support it.
And my response to that is, it's not an ideal situation, but when you give someone a proxy, you trust them to make a judgment on your behalf. So you better pick wisely. And that was the idea behind this proposal. However, since the technology issues come up and there's a vote involved with that, I could accept that as a modification of the proposal. And I thank my colleagues for coming up with that.
So I would just, if the council is generally in agreement, I'd ask the city administrator to come back with a rule on technology and council members who attend by some kind of electronic method.
Yep, we can do that. There are many examples of that other communities have adopted, so we can do that very quickly.
Great.
As part of the discussion, as we move through that, let's make sure that we really do have the capability in this building in order to do a video feed of some sort so that it's completely understandable on both ends, on this end, everything else in there. I know we've tried to do it over the last 2 years with Quita, and it just doesn't work. So
I think we have a nice...
now, I won't say that that's the best technology we've been using there, but then again, I want to make sure that everything is functioning fine the way it is. The other caution I would just have to council members is I would hope that we certainly wouldn't use this in the stead of actually being here in the chambers. I mean, I can see this being an easy one. I'd rather just watch from home tonight, go from there.
I would think the rule should include some, like you're out of town, you have a conflict, or you're sick. Because I've never missed a whole meeting. I'm kind of amazed that I haven't because of my other job. But I've turned this on there. Good man. But I think it probably would have worked out pretty well if I could have Skyped in some kind of way from my other job and attended, and then gone down to the other council meeting I have to attend sometimes. It might have worked out pretty well.
Well,
one thing to consider for the public who don't understand sometimes some of the kind of pro forma stuff we do here, you will see that if someone is absent, we normally have a vote where we excuse their absence. What that's about is someone who has 3 unexcused absences in a row is subject to, they can have that, we could declare that seat vacant and appoint somebody to fill it. So when we excuse someone, we're cutting off that possibility. So one of the possibilities would be say, okay, well, if someone attends electronically, then they're counted as absent, and it's not an excused absence. So if there were more than 3 in a row, then that could create a vacant seat. Just something to think about, and that certainly creates a tremendous incentive to be here.
I don't know, you'd certainly have to discuss that among your rules if you'd actually consider him absent at that point, or just not present in the room, but present for the meeting.
I think there's other ways to do it that might be a little more effective.
I would suggest, Mr. Mayor, that in order for you to be eligible to attend electronically, you would also have to be eligible for an excused absence. So if you're sick, out of town, business conflict, I don't know what other, family issues, new grandchild, things like that.
Put that in the ruling.
Currently, your rules don't have any reasons. You
Exactly
just
true.
notify the clerk or myself that you will
Yeah,
not
there
be
you
present.
go.
Let's just use the vague legal standard of good cause.
It's pretty vague.
Yeah.
Okay, other council discussion? I think our new IT manager is going to have some additional work to do when he gets here. Okay, with that, pardon me. Item number 2, Town Hall Spring Quarter meeting date and topic. Dave?
Thank you, Council. As you know, your rules provide for a town hall style meeting on a quarterly basis, but not pre-scheduled, so that you can be adaptable to how your agendas are going. So we're halfway through this quarter, and so we are looking at, and I think we talked recently about a June Saturday town hall, and we just wanted to make sure we got that nailed down precisely tonight with you so that we can get that scheduled and understand what the kickoff topic would be. You wanted to also, for those, have kind of a kickoff topic, and of course, citizens can address you on any topic in a town hall setting. So, looking at the June calendar, to give a little bit of notice, I think we would want to be toward the later part of June. June 29th. 29th.
Both dates are open for me.
When do we get back from the conference on?
The 28th. Afternoon of the 28th.
29th would work. I'm not available on the 22nd.
What is the 29th of what?
29th of June. Next
I'll
month.
be in India that weekend.
Of which weekend? The 29th?
29th.
That's a long commute, but it's not a good excuse.
That's right.
We could Skype you.
I don't know
It might
about
be middle of the
Skyping.
morning.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Jennifer.
Oh, 29th
distance
was
fees.
good for me, but the 22nd, I'm not available.
Yeah, also 29th is good for me, but 22nd is very difficult.
29th is fine with me.
Me too.
Sorry, kind of Joe.
Sorry, have fun without me.
So do you want to pick the topic since you're the one that won't be here?
No? Not off the top of my head, at least.
Have it early in the morning.
Yeah, I guess we should set a
That
time.
look on Dave's face
What is
fine
early? I get up at
Define
5 every
early.
day. That's normal.
1 p.m., but.
Did we do 9 a.m. last
9
time?
a.m.?
Was
We
it
did
9?
9 last time.
Good.
Okay,
I don't remember.
can do that.
I'm up, so.
Are we scheduling 3 hours again, or what was it?
Last time we went to, did we go 3 or 2?
I think
Until
we
we
were
were done.
flexible. I think we thought it was 2, but I think it went longer than that. I'd have to go back and look at the tape now.
Do we dare do an opener on budget?
I don't know.
Are you going to go to India? You're going to be out of town.
Oh, that's a good point. If you're not going to be here, we may not want to start on
Oh.
budget.
I can watch it online. I won't be there for discussion, but I certainly get to watch it online.
This is one of those unscripted moments among staff.
Right, this is, really the council's town hall meeting, and so we didn't come prepared to prescribe, or have topics. We'd be prepared to talk about any topic that you wanted to talk about. Last one was transportation. Talked about our transportation capital facilities plans. On the rates and the utility capital plans and all of that, we have a workshop, the council meeting just after that one on July 8th. So, we're teeing that one up for July 8th. It's a little early. I mean, we could have some general budget conversations. We don't have revenue projections by then or those things.
I'm thinking budget 210 to go through our actual budget, what the items are, what things really don't vary much, any of that kind of stuff to really be able to give council. That would probably eat most of at least an hour and a half, even going through it at a high level and leaving some time for the public to speak as well. But
Walk
maybe
through the
other
existing budget?
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
But there may be, do you want to do
I need to
youth
think of-
initiatives?
I need to think about it a minute. Can we give you some input in the next couple days?
Absolutely.
Well, I like budget. We've been begging that we start it early, the conversation early, and that's a good thing.
Okay, so if you've got particular topics that are near and dear that you would love to see brought forward, if you'd let Dave know that, we'll start running those together and hopefully settle on something. But for right now, let's pencil the 29th in from 9 to, let's call it 9 to noon, just to be safe, and if we get out early, it's a wonderful thing. Okay, thank you. We're now at that opportunity again in the agenda for anyone from the public that would like to address council. Okay. Moving to mayor's report, I've got a number of items for you this evening, most of them a lot of dates to remember, and there's enough of them that I may ask Rose to go ahead and send some of these out to you tomorrow. First, a couple of accommodations. Memorial Day yesterday, the services up at the cemetery. I know quite a few of the council were there. Just publicly a thank you, and I did that with the park staff as well. I know we were up on Sunday taking flowers up to the cemetery. Sunday was a much different day than yesterday was. It was much drier. There was blue sky. There was sunshine. There was a wonder. In all the years I've been going up to that ceremony, I've never once seen our cemetery look as good as it did on Sunday. It still looked pretty dang good on Monday, but with a lot of rain coming down. But I don't know if it's just the circumstances of being able to mow when it wasn't so wet and clumpy and everything else. It looked awesome. So thank you for everybody that worked on that program itself. This afternoon, a little highlight, I had the pleasure of welcoming Captain Morrison and the Lady Washington down to our port. They're here overnight. They have overnight visitors that will be here using the hotel, and tomorrow morning they set sail for Stevenson. This evening, if we get out of here in time, they're actually trying to visit our city pubs. Excuse me, the pubs in our community. We don't have any city pubs. So they're doing a little economic development while they're here. A little tourism tax is being paid in, and they've got both the Hawaiian Chieftain and the Lady Washington down at the port docks. Dates: June 1st, Hike the Dike, 11 a.m. A fundraiser for the West Columbia Gorge Humane Society. A reminder: this year it does not start down at the Humane Society. It starts at Pendleton parking lot. So if you end up in one spot, you'll be halfway through the walk already. June 4th is the Clark County Parks Foundation luncheon at 11:30 down at the Hilton in Vancouver. I believe this year we will most likely send Suzanne up on stage to receive, I don't want to steal all their thunder, but she could be receiving a sizable grant this year. So, and as a matter of fact, she will be receiving a sizable grant this year. So there you go. June 4th, also that same day, we're going from luncheon into the evening. The Citizen of the Year dinner for the Chamber of Commerce and our Business Persons of the Year up at the Fairgate Inn. This year we have three or four, depends on how you count them, award winners. Well, actually 5, I guess. Norm Paulson, who is our Citizen of the Year. For those that don't know, Norm is a Washougal resident, has been his entire life, grew up across the street from me, and still lives where he pretty much grew up. He is our Citizen of the Year, and then Wes Hickey and Lone Wolf Development are one of the Businesses of the Year, and Jerry and Berta Knott from the Bigfoot are the other Business of the Year. So interesting to have both of them in there at the same time, and then we also have a educator that is being awarded that evening as well from Washougal High School. June 7th, Quita Quarterly Business Talk with Scott Bailey and Jeannie Bennett. Jeannie is from the Workforce Development Group, and that afternoon will be down at Harvest Restaurant, which is at the Camas Hotel, and we'll get that out. And then, in addition, just a reminder: June 8th, the Suds for Sight walk and run through Washougal and various businesses. We'll make sure that you've got information on that on the starting time. That's going to start from Reflection Plaza, I believe now at noon.
1:30.
1:30? They moved it again. They keep moving things, so it's been Yeah, we'll try and get, I know we've got the flyers and stuff out, so I'll try and confirm with Peter that that stuff has not changed and get all those out. So I will make sure that, that Rose gets those reminders out to everybody here in the next day. And then a question for council members, for Joyce, Jennifer, and Paul. Are you all three still attending AWC conference?
Yes.
Will you all be there on Thursday afternoon?
Yes.
Can we just put voting delegate credentials in your three hands?
Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all that I have. Council members. Brent? Karen? Paul?
The only event on my list that you missed is Clark College Alumni Dinner is also Tuesday, June 4th at 6 p.m. in the Penguin Union Building.
I thought you went to MIT.
I've been to a lot of places. Moving target, moving target. The other thing I just wanted to mention briefly, I have a handout here. It is just 4 pages, 4 sides actually, 2 pages. The title is The Simple Math That Can Save Cities from Bankruptcy. I'll hand it out to council. I have a total of, I think, 8 or 9 copies here. Any of the public who would like a copy, email me and I'll send you a PDF. Basically, the point that it makes is that if you're dependent on property tax, what really matters is property tax per acre. And if you look at that, mostly on the last page here, it turns out that small office buildings are better even than luxury hotels. So I'll hand these out, and anyone else who's interested, please just email me.
Paul, anything else?
I've got plenty. I'm sorry. That's it. I'm sorry.
Joyce?
Yes. On May 16th and 17th, I attended the Washington Low Income Housing Alliance Convention in Tacoma. I went as a member of the Community Action Advisory Board, CAB, of which I am currently the secretary. The purpose of the board is to end homelessness in Clark County, and we also fund providers of community services. So what I'm trying to do now is how to take the information that I'm gathering at CAB to bring back for our community here in East County. And it's a very exciting place to be, and there is a tremendous amount of help out there for people in transition. And 211 is a number to dial and to tell people about. That number is a universal number in our state to put people into connection with services that they need. The other thing is, I just was up at this, I'm the liaison to the cemetery board for the city, and that board of 5 people worked very hard to put on a wonderful Memorial Day service up there. There was cake, there was cookies, hot coffee, which was very much appreciated, and Dave Shoemaker again was one of our speakers, and I know he had wet feet. I mean, there was a tent over his head, but wet feet, and thank you very much for your speech.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I just wanted to also thank Councilman Shoemaker for coming out to the Stride event and assisting and presenting medals and thanking our sponsors. It was a wonderful day. We actually broke records as far as attendance and runners, and we raised quite a bit of money, and this was a banner year for the Stride, and that benefits the Washougal Schools Foundation. I am the vice president of that board, and soon to be, so I'm told, president next year. So I just wanted to send a shout out and thank Councilman Shoemaker for stepping up to do that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Did you want to do anything on meals?
Can I plug it? Okay, great. I have some flyers here for our local Meals on Wheels. center. They're doing a little bit of a fundraising push to try and make their goal. They have a $10,000 fundraising goal at the end of June, and they are short between $700 and $800. And I just wanted everyone to see these flyers. I have a few more if you're interested. It talks about the Sustainers Circle, which is a monthly giving program that automatically comes out of your account, and you can give as little as $10 a month or whatever you can, and it would be completely painless for you, but it would really benefit our local seniors. There's a place inside that you can write the specific center that you would like it to go to, and this would help us make our goals. So please give if you can. Thanks.
Sounds like the mayors need to do another barbecue.
Yes.
So we got
that would be very helpful.
well, we got $100 ahead, so if we did it 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. I was in the steering committee meeting this morning, and we raised almost $5,000
Sitting there.
just for the banquet. So that was really wonderful. It was, considering our costs were almost nil, because the food was donated, and the puffin was fabulous, and you were fabulous, Mayor Guard. It was really wonderful. The auction items, the community was very generous in donating auction items, and it was just wonderful. Go ahead, Joyce.
Well, I just want to say, I was a partner and bought the basket that the city put together, and it was tremendous. I mean, it was
Got some
really
good wines.
There's some good wines and chocolate.
Thank you. Dave?
First of all, I want to thank Councilmember McDaniel for inviting me to the Stride event, and the mayor for being absent so that she would invite me. It was a pleasure to represent you, Mr. Mayor. Secondly, I wanted to mention something else. First of all, you noted the wet feet the other day. There were a lot of wet feet out there, and I felt sorry for the color guard because they stood there for over an hour
Yes.
in the rain
Yes.
without rain gear.
Yes.
Brent had a marvelous picture of them on Facebook.
Let's hear it for the American Legion. It's a good group.
Yes.
But little known, and this is a well-known event. It's becoming a pretty well-known event. We had 150 people there at least, and this was in the pouring rain. So I think we're doing okay. A little-known event took place on Friday. It was a similar event at Clark College, and the Student Veterans Club put that one on and did a marvelous tribute to those who serve and their families. And it was extremely well done. I had the honor of speaking at that one also. But that club did a marvelous job. And by the way, the vice president of the club is Jenny McCullough, who used to own D&J Cleaners here
Yes.
in Washougal. So it was kind of like Old Home Week. But we had a rousing Veterans Day celebration all weekend.
As it should be. Couldn't you?
I would like to encourage folks, every year I do it through Facebook and through phone calls, personal invitations, to attend our Washougal Cemetery or memorial service. I did notice a Facebook comment, and I don't mean to chastise any individual, but their reply was, weather permitting. And I thought, well, first of all, you live in the Northwest. And secondly, we're there to honor our soldiers who never stopped based on the weather. And that broke my heart. So I think there were 5 council members. I don't know if I didn't see all 7. I might have missed you, but 5 of us were there, plus the mayor. That was a great turnout. So try to remember to just create something, however you communicate with your email list and your Facebook, maybe a week in advance, create an event. I know Dave Shoemaker did that. And it's so easy just to send that on. So we just need to think in advance, and that's the hard thing, I think. Remind ourselves and never, ever let the weather hold you back. Our soldiers, again, never did.
Thank you.
No updates. We just finished 2 back-to-back C-Trend meetings. Those are now online at CVTV. So if you'd like to watch some really entertaining Sunday night movie or something, you know, there you go. So we're still waiting on a number of issues as far as C-Trans decisions with the Columbia River crossing. We all know that that's a hot topic. But the main things are the legislature and the Attorney General has some decision to send down to us and the Coast Guard. So we're somewhat biding time until we hear from those agencies. And that's all. Thanks.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I also was at the Memorial Day for the my 7th consecutive Memorial Day, and I agree with the mayor that the crew did, and also the volunteers did a fabulous job up at the cemetery this year. I didn't plant this year, but previous years I've been up there weeding and planting myself, so it was a wonderful celebration. Thank you.
Yeah, I also noticed there was a sign hanging from the tent saying what time the ceremony started. I don't know when that sign went up, but that's helpful. I know one year I couldn't find it online. I didn't know where to find it. We drove by there and accidentally ran into someone that was probably preparing for the event, and we found out that way. So it's important to have that notification out there.
Any other items from council?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Do we not have an executive session?
Pardon?
Do we have an executive
Pardon?
session?
Maybe not. I don't know. Just to, before we adjourn, we do have an executive session, so.
Oh, we do?
Oh, okay.
I'm going to guess 30 minutes. It's on both potential litigation and also labor negotiations. All
Jennifer,
depends, let's put it this way, it all depends on how long you all talk.
Is there action there expected?
No action to follow at all.
and Jennifer, here's my pledge.
Thank you, Paul.
In regard to the folks in the back of the room, just to dispel any rumors before they get started, because it will happen before we are back together again. My hair is being shaved off here in the next week and a half. I'm not going in for any cancer treatments, thankfully. We're doing it for charity for a young lady here in the community who has gone through some leukemia treatments and is doing some other stuff. So she's challenged a few of us to come out and have that publicly done. And so next time you see me, and even before then, I'm going to quit taking care of anything just so it looks really bad before they take it all off. So there you go.
Are you going to do facial hair too?
It depends on how big the dollar amount gets. There's a cost associated to everything. With that, we will
Mustache is one
move
size.
into executive session. I apologize, but we're going to ask for the chambers to be cleared, other than Attorney English and Jeanette, if you will stay with us, please.
Jennifer.
Again, I'm anticipating 30 minutes at the very most, with no action to follow before we adjourn at the end of that.
Oh, I